the Dimensionator.
Dr. Nefarious just crowned himself Emperor of this dimension.
We've got to get him and us out of here. But without the Dimensionator...
I think we have to build a new one. The boundaries between the universes are coming undone.
Yo-ho, our time has finally come. It worked!
Wow, another Lombax.
Hello and welcome to Arcade Couch, the best place to your friends and get your game goodness when the show's back on air and we're doing it weekly. For now, welcome to our quick bonus episode talking about what we have given Game of the Year to. Not our personal list, that will be coming up in a couple weeks. However, the game that we collectively, Explosion Network, decided Game of the Year, which is, of course, Ratchet Clank Rift Apart. My name's Dylan Blind. Joining me for this, Ashley Hobley.
Hey Dylan, excited to be here to talk about another Insomniac Games classic.
And Karen Marchant.
Yes, it is I excited to talk about what we did call Game of the Year, and thank God it wasn't something else that could have been called Game of the Year, because I could have cried if we had done it too.
Are you talking about
It Takes Two robbed?
God, don't even. No.
There was no reason to have brought that up other than the fact that you just did that to yourself. So
I did. But I don't mind. I just like to bring up the point that it isn't our Game of the Year, and how ecstatic I am, because I was worried that was a serious possibility. And, you know,
I mean, it made the list.
It did make the list. It made it high up the list.
I don't know. You know, maybe we need to keep counting.
Needs a recount? No, nobody demands a recount.
New recount. Yeah.
No, I don't think that's how it works.
Are those jokes still relevant?
I mean, it's been like 2 years, so I don't know if it's quite a thing at this stage. Yeah, welcome 2022, I guess, as well. Game of Year, Ratchet Clank Rift Apart. So, developed by Insomniac Games, wins our Game of the Year. Other awards it won during our games coverage, in case you've missed it, is it was third in our top 5 for art direction, which goes to Gavin Golden. It was third in our best performances for Jennifer Hale for Rivet. It was fourth in game direction, that would go to Marcus Smith and Mike Daly. And then it was fourth in best narrative as well, which is shared between Sam Maggs, Mark Kenny, Max Folkman, Nick Folkman, and Lauren Mee. So it did have 5 awards across our, I think it's 10 or 9. 10?
10 and then
10,
5
yeah.
places. So
yeah, so pretty good all up there. Ash, what do you love about Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart?
It's just a really great Ratchet & Clank game, you know? They've with the especially with the PS3 ones, they just nailed what people want from a Ratchet & Clank game. And they just gave us another iteration of it, but with beautiful, shiny graphics. Like, obviously, this was like one of the first games that PlayStation was pushing to like showcase what you could do on the PS5, and like, it looks amazing. Like, I feel like it might be a little bit underappreciated, but like, it's on par with anything Pixar or Walt Disney Animation Studios put out this year. And you can do a pretty good comparison because all of those came out on streaming services, I'm pretty sure. So, but yeah, it looks amazing. Really fun story, you know. It got in on the multiverse thing before everybody else did this year. And, you know, it was just felt fun, like playing as Ratchet and Rivet and, you know, going around shooting stuff, dashing about, smashing things. Fun story. Really good time, yeah.
Karen?
I actually think Ratchet & Clank suffers just because of its, like, the period of time it was released in. I think coming out in that kind of earlier part of the year in May. Was it May or was it earlier than that? Was it June? I can't remember. That's part of the reason. That's part of the problem. I think if this had come out during the Christmas or the end of year kind of period, I think a lot more people would still be talking about this game, and it would be featured a lot more heavily in Game of the Year talks. I think Ratchet
came
Clank...
out June 11th, by the way.
June 11th, there we go. I think Ratchet & Clank does a fantastic job at both capturing what we loved about the original Ratchet & Clank games, but then also providing a next-gen experience for them with utilizing load times, with switching between areas. I think it moved its gameplay design forward. I absolutely loved the larger areas that featured throughout Ratchet and Clank that didn't feel as linear as we're used to with these types of games. Kind of riding around on the rocket boots and kind of skating around the place, I had the most fun doing. I think they do another great job at another game, doing a great job with like a time traveling level, jumping between two periods of time. I think overall, Ratchet and Clank storytelling is far greater and better than I think any of us expected it to be, as well as what it used to be. I think everything just shows maturity from Insomniac in this game. That comes from them going away from Ratchet and Clank for a while and coming back to it. I think everything about the detail of this game is beautiful. Its game design overall is amazing. I think my only ever point of like kind of minimal point was that just maybe some of the guns weren't as interesting as previous, but doesn't mean that the guns weren't as fun as they are. I think both Ratchet and Rivet are both great characters, and the character development by both of them throughout this title is really, really good, and I'm really excited to see where they go. I think one of the big things that it's definitely some artwork that I still want to get to kind of decorate my house with is some of the credit artwork of Ratchet and Clank and Rivet. I think overall it's just such a stellar experience, and I think it is definitely a game that a lot of people, if they sit down and talk about it and have played it, can all have a lot of agreements on how great and how wonderful an experience it is.
I think that's the interesting thing for this game, and it's like reception. And by the way, you can still have criticisms of the game, even though we gave it Game of the Year. Game of the Year doesn't mean it's suddenly perfect and untouchable.
It's not perfect.
Yeah.
I think maybe it's just because it's a really good, it's a great game, but it's just a well-oiled machine. And because it doesn't do anything particularly like shocking, that then a lot of people maybe weren't as willing to like give it that second look and consider it one of the year's best games, I guess, because it's like you're still looking for that sort of. I feel like a lot of places are either looking for the really niche thing to give Game of the Year to, which is fine, or they want the big cinematic thing. And Ratchet and Clank is just a really good video game where the gameplay is still at the forefront, and even if it is stuff that you've sort of seen before, it's just been done a lot better than in any other previous entry of the game. Games, series, franchise, whatever. But I would say it's the best. I don't know. Is it a big claim to say it's the best Ratchet and Clank game? I don't know.
I don't believe so, no.
Is that a hot take, as the kids say?
No, I think that's pretty fair.
Hot diggity damn. But no, I would say it's probably the best Ratchet and Clank game. I mean, other than, I would agree, my one major criticism, and I think we talked about it previously, was that the guns compared to some of the others don't have as much variety, but it's still, you're getting a lot of the most loved fun guns in the game, and the game now runs at 60, and it's got a lot more blast and particle effects. You know, you're seeing these guns done again, but done better. But the one thing is, like, you kind of feel like, oh, I wish I could have had that one gun that sort of stood out as the rift apart, like, oh, that gun, you know, that's the gun from that game sort of thing. But, which I think we said before is like the sprinkler thing, which I can't remember the name of off the top of my head, whatever that was called.
Yeah. No, I agree. I just called it the sprinkler gun.
Yeah, the sprinkler gun thing. Yeah. Having said that, though, what would be your favorite level or place, Ash? And favorite weapon?
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, hitting you with the hard questions.
I really liked the pirate level. I thought that was really well put together, and like lots of different little things, little adventures for you to go on, different avenues for you to follow down, and then you get the big pirate fight. And Captain Quantum is a fun twist on Captain Quark. Guns. Come back to me. Let me look it up.
Karen, do you have a off the top of your head?
I think the level is, I don't know the name of the level. It is the monks kind of monk planet, I guess. It's the one that's very open and wide and has a broad, like it's kind of where you use
deserty one.
Yes, it's
the
like
jetpack booster thing.
Yes, yeah, exactly. Where you get like the most out of your boots is kind of roaming. There's a lot more freedom to kind of skate around that map and explore and have a look and find things. It has several challenges that I found really fun and interesting to do with kind of both the rocket boots and using grind rails. And like there was one where you have to like kind of the floor appears and disappears for you as you're skating through, which I thought was overall a really great aspect. I guess for me, favorite guns, it's a little hard to remember exactly considering it was 6 months ago. But I think the robot glove, where you throw the microbots, I always found. I think that's just for me as a staple of Ratchet Clank games that I always find really useful. That definitely was commonly used that I really enjoyed once again in Ratchet Clank.
Your list there, Ash?
Yeah. I think I'll go with the Ricochet one, like the pinball one. That one was pretty good when you get the timing down right.
That was going to be my answer.
Dudes.
Yeah, the Ricochet.
Yeah.
Because at first I thought it was terrible, but then I didn't realize you had to
Time it.
Time it, yeah. And that one sort of does a lot of damage when you get the click, 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 click. And I used that a lot in the last boss fight, so that's the one that sort of stands out to me. It was going to be the Ricochet.
It feels good with the dual sense as well.
Mm.
When you nail it, yeah.
My favorite level, though, I'm nearly out of tie, but I'm going to say it's actually the one where you discover the monster thing. You go deeper down into it, and then you become friends with it.
Oh yeah, that was like a very almost horror-esque sequence.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
Hopefully
no.
that scars a few children.
That was the time jumping level as well.
Yeah, you're going backwards and forwards. Yeah. Because my alternative was going to be the space planet where you're flicking between the two. It's not time jumping. It's realities, I guess. Yeah.
Realities. Yeah.
So I would say that planet, because then you flicking between the horror movie monster thing, and you're going from one where it's like an abandoned facility, and then the other side like it's still another reality.
It's a real the thing, right?
Yeah. And then one place it's like still up and running. My runner-up though was just going to be the space asteroid where it's like destroyed facility thing on one side, and on the other side there's like a doctor leaving you notes or something like that, and there's interesting little side story happening between these little audio logs and stuff like that. So, but the ones that stand out level-wise to me are the ones that make best use of the theme of the game, like the realities sort of stuff, which is as much as like I liked flying around the one Kieran was talking about, big open world-ish, or not open world, but open area of a level and flying around that, and you had those few like side objectives you could do on that place, like finding all the statues or whatever they were, I can't remember, and I think that was sort of
actually
stuff.
That was why I love that. Now that I even think about it, it is because of the Lombax history that's tied to that place. That made
true.
it so interesting, and kind of the connotations around those audio logs from the Lombaxes, that kind of added a lot to the whole lore, and especially in terms of Ratchet and Clank as a whole, but that individual planet as well.
I would probably have that at third, solely because all the Lombax stuff is great. I just, like, from a gameplay perspective, it was just more like open space shooting stuff, not as exciting. But the lore stuff was really cool. Which is worth mentioning, of course. This game does a lot of lore stuff that we haven't really seen done to such a degree, I guess, in Ratchet and Clank, and it's going to be really interesting going forward in the franchise, seeing what they build on from now, the Lombax stuff, and this multiverse of Ratchet Lombax stuff. And with that, here's my last question. Favorite character and/or moment? Ash.
I'll say Kit, because we haven't brought her up much. She was great. And I think her moment with Rivet, I think, was pretty cool. Like, obviously they've been at odds in the past. Like, she was this out of control robot who took Rivet's arm.
It's really fucking dark.
But yeah, it is dark when you like break it down like that. But yeah, then we teaming up after Rivet pretty much rejects her, tells her to get fucked.
Okay.
Yeah. Kids.
I love the
Family
main,
friendly.
of course, the main kind of the core cast of characters with the 4 of them. But I want to give it a shout out to Dr. Nefarious. I think both versions of him, Emperor Nefarious and Dr. Nefarious, are really fun and great villains, and they're not really those. We don't really get those types of villains in current gaming kind of narrative design or anything. These more, I guess, wacky Saturday morning cartoon, over the top kind of villains that we get interaction with throughout the entire game, and you get to hear them back and forth, and seeing the duality and difference between Emperor Nefarious and Dr. Nefarious. I think it's a lot of fun throughout this game.
Dr. Nefarious is a little bitch in this, though.
Yep. Exactly what I was about to say.
He really is, though. Like, it's not... They really make the Emperor one like stand out as the...
He's
Dominant.
the alpha male.
Yeah,
He's the alpha.
he is the
Yep.
alpha,
Yeah,
100%.
Dr. Nefarious is just a Sigma. He's just all about that grind stuff.
Zeta, yeah.
Rivet is my favorite character. And it's kind of like experiencing Ratchet again, but with a slightly more, like, I guess... we got it with the reboot, or not reboot, the remake of Ratchet and Clank, I guess. Like, they got a chance to remake the origin of Ratchet and Clank and that was good and whatever else. But, like, seeing Rivet for the first time in this, it's like, the Insomniac's experience getting to, like, meet this new Lombax for the first time, and then the origin between her and Kit is, like, just a much more, I guess, interesting origin than just Ratchet and Clank's one. And yeah, because my favorite moment is it would be just that sort of heartbreaking, I don't know, it's kind of hard to say. It's like either the heartbreaking moment where they decide to split up, or the moment Kit comes back to return and
Save the day
sort of thing. So, because I feel like the biggest emotional punching moments of the game are built on Kit and Rivet, not Ratchet and Clank. Like, Ratchet and Clank are in the game, and I think I've said this before, where, like, it's interesting, Ratchet and Clank, but I definitely felt like the story's narrative leaned heavily towards it being Rivet and Kit's game, more so than...
I think they did a great job of, as a story design, to have each of the new characters paired off with one of the original pair. So you could build them up alongside a character that the audience already knows and loves, and then kind of, as you predict, building up until the end of the game where the pairs kind of swap back and they become Ratchet and Clank and Rivet and Kit. And I think it both endears you to those characters and makes it a comfortable environment for you to enjoy those characters, instead of maybe people being a bit more kind of against it if all of a sudden you were playing as just a completely different pair and Ratchet and Clank weren't involved at all in parts of the game.
And then I was, just as a game itself, pretty much this entire year, anytime someone's got a PS5 or scored one, it's like that question of, what game should I get first? The answer has always been...
Astrobot.
No.
I was waiting for
Clank
it, but that
Ash,
comes with,
fuck's
you
sake.
don't get that. It just comes with
It's
it.
free.
I thought you meant play.
No.
Sorry.
They're like, what game should I buy? Ratchet and Clank. Like, not even what type of games do you like? I'm like, surely everyone can enjoy it. I just assume that anyone, no matter what type of games they're into, Ratchet and Clank surely is a game that anyone can enjoy. So
anyone has a soft spots for you.
Yeah, and it's a good
like
showcase of the
you,
PS5. So
it's like as you compared it to Pixar movies. I don't think there's anybody who dislikes Pixar movies. I think most people can sit down and watch a Pixar movie nowadays. Ratchet and Clank has that same effect.
yeah, well, I assume / hope so. So anyway, any final thoughts on Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, our game of the year this year?
No, I don't know. Don't know if you mentioned it. We did do a spoiler cast on this Arcade Couch feed for Ratchet and Clank earlier in the year that we did a full deep dive on the game. So
Link it in the
Dylan and
show notes.
Dylan and Kieran's major criticisms of the game over there. So
yeah, if you want to hear us, I didn't want to go because I'm like, separate the podcast. But yeah, if you want to check that out and hear our actual criticisms of the stuff we've sort of delved into a bit more, that would be the place. And of course, we discussed the story a bit more in detail in that podcast. It was recorded a very long time ago, and by look on Kieran's face, he was like,
Back in June.
I don't remember recording that shit.
No, I totally remembered that. I was so fresh on that podcast.
I
like,
swear
it was
Ash
great.
just said, we recorded this podcast, and you were like, did I?
Look, that happens a lot, but we record a lot of podcasts. So it's okay to.
I thought that was just a conversation we had after recording something else. No, it was recorded.
Look, that could also be the case sometimes, and sometimes just microphones are involved and it records what I say.
That's true. Yeah. Don't forget, check out explosionhour.com/best of 2021 for all of our best of 2021 coverage. That includes all of our video game awards that are now up. Of course, our top 10 games and a bunch of other ones. All of our TV awards will be up by the time you're listening to this. And if you're listening to the day this releases, our movie coverage starts as of tomorrow. If you're listening to this a week later, all the stuff will be up. So go check out all of our best of 2021 award winners, and we'll be back with our regularly scheduled programming in just a couple of weeks. We are going to kick off our first return show. Will be our personal best games of 2021 lists. So that'll be
17th of January.
There you go. 17th of January, and then the week after will be your normal. NFTs are in every fucking game now. So
that's the opening joke of the year.
Yeah, it's gonna be something about fucking NFTs. All right, thank you for joining us. Till next time. Boy.
Give it up for our hero!
Ratchet, we need your help. Nefarious
I have sprained my ankle!